Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm not spinning a truck this time, but I am spinning a truck. So I picked up a Enduro 12, and I have reasons. I'm not going to keep this body, but I like the dimensions, I guess, of the Enduro 12. And we'll get to that in later videos. But so I never leave anything stock. If you know me, raise your hand. Raise your hand. I don't leave anything stock. I have to mess with things, and I messed with this. And as you can tell, I put some cheap Amazon something or another tires on here, some Trio 155 bead locks, which I like. I like the look of the bead lock on this with that body. Looks pretty decent. I like the chrome rims too, but yeah. So anywho, so I narrowed this up by putting these wheels on. The included hexes for the Enduro 12 are pretty wide, and I put about a third of the hex on this, which did narrow it up quite a bit. So tires no longer stick out from the body; they're within the body confines, which I think looks pretty decent. And that, again, for a different body that's in the future. But one thing that really gets my goat when non-standardized things appear out of thin air on vehicles, especially cool vehicles. I like the smaller vehicles. I like the shorter wheelbases for the scale truck thing. But what really got my goat on this one was a daggone servo. It is not a standard size. It's not labeled, so good luck. It's not in manual. Part number's not on Associated site yet. But I don't know what this servo is. I don't know what size it is, but it is not standard. The Reef's Raw 100 is smaller, and all the other standard servo sizes are much bigger. So by all rights, it is a low profile servo, but it really burned me that I couldn't just throw a Reef servo in here, because that's what I do. I throw Reef servos in everything, because I can't leave well enough alone, and I don't trust stock servos, especially if I don't have a label and I can't look up specs. So I did things. So you may notice way overkill, but there's a raw 800 in here. I did make some modifications to get it to fit, but it is in here. It is working. It is smooth. This ESC, I'm not sure what the BEC output is. Couldn't find that anywhere either, but I'd say it's at least, it's 5 volts, maybe 6 volts at the max. But yeah, so I'm not intending to leave a raw 800 low profile servo in this tiny truck. I'll probably swap it out with a Reef's 400 LP, probably a USTE edition or a black. I just need to order one. This is what I had low profile sitting in, so that's what I used. To get that mounted on there, I had to seek some other stuff. So it is bolted on there. The 4-link is retained, so it's all stock. I didn't mess with any geometry. The only thing I changed was the mount. This mount, and I hope somebody makes one that's, it uses the 2 holes and goes through the 2 holes on the axle housing that they designed for a standard servo. But even with that, there's complications, and I'll tell you why. And if you have one of these, you will probably notice, get a little pointer here, you'll probably notice that these chassis braces, now these are plastic, they run to a tie bar down here, and they just run up inside the frame rails up to the front. Normally they're on the inside of the steel chassis rail. Now they're on the outside. I use the same screw. I just put them on the outside. It did interfere a little bit with the shocks. hence the spacer up here. These are just brass shock spacers. I have no idea what they're from, but it's only, it's just a smidge wider than the stock one. This is the stock one right here, if you can see it. This brass one's just a little bit wider, lets the shock come out a little bit to stay off of that plastic brace. And yes, I know I'm very fiddly. This isn't normal. I don't expect people to repeat this. This is not an instruction manual. This is just creativity, problem solving 101 for RC stuff. So once I figured out that the servo would fit between the frame rails by moving these out, then I had to find a mount. And what I found, the one that's on here is a Trail Hobby mount, but in aluminum, but a stock UTB18 servo mount. If you lop the 4-link piece off, if you just cut straight across here, and you're just left with the 2 ears and the servo mount, it will barely, those 2 upper holes are pretty close to those holes, and you can kind of see how far off we are. Get a little more light down here. It's not off by much, and all I did was just kind of ream the axle holes out a little bit with a file, and I got them in there. And that's what mounts the servo to the axle. So it's still 2 points of mount. It's nut and bolt, through bolt with a nut on the back side, and that's what holds my servo in. The next challenge was the actual link, the servo link, going from the servo to the C. The factory one is much shorter, as you can see. Because the servo is obviously mounted over a little bit. So you can unscrew this out and it will work, but it's pretty much at the end of the threads. So a longer tie bar, and this is 2 mil threaded tie bar. All these end links are 2 mil threads. I didn't have any around, and I wasn't going to wait to order some or get some 2 mil straight stock and make my own link. So I went digging again, and what I found was these TRX4M links. They are 2 mil in the ball ends. Ball ends are 2 mil, and these I believe are upper rears, and they are the exact length that I needed for centered steering. So these links, the stock links, you can actually put a twist in them enough to make that twist from having an eyelet this way and one that way, one horizontal, one vertical. So there's a twist in this rod until I get some 2 mil stock in. But it's working. It's not too shabby. There's really no flex at all. So yeah, I know that won't last. It's just cheesy plastic. It bends up, but proof of concept is there, and all right. So I just need to replace that with a 2 mil link, which I'll get. Enough on that jabbering, so to speak. So those are my leftover parts. I got some wheel hexes, a servo mount, and I think I got a pretty good little truck. It's a full-size servo, or a low-profile metal servo, standard size. Definitely puts some weight up front, so that should help it on the trails and crawling a little bit. But yeah, she's a winner now. And I do like the speed control combo unit in here. I think that's fantastic. Might be the only other thing I change is the 380. I believe I have a Holmes motor. I have a Curlmaster 380 18 turn that I can throw in there, and see how that works. But for right now, I'm just going to run the stock motor and get some testing in on this, and kind of prove the concept that somebody needs to make that mount. They just need to make this width top and this width bottom, and it'd be cool. It'd be cool. That's all I got to really say about that. But yeah, it does fit. I don't really, this doesn't bother me. I know that if that brace isn't there, if I hit something, these rails are probably going to fold like a cheap chair. But for right now, I'm okay with them being on the outside. The only other thing I could do is just go ahead and take that center support out, clip it out, and screw all of it on the outside and put one frame brace across. But I don't think it's really necessary. You definitely can't do it up here because that's where the servo lives. So if somebody makes that mount, that's way cool. If somebody makes a CMS kit for these, it'd be way cooler too. I believe that a servo could mount up front here and swing across. Just need a pan-hard solution, which there's plenty of mounting options on these axles. They left a lot on here, and I hope people embrace this truck, the Enduro 12, and we get some parts for it. Everybody thinks it's an old truck that's rebranded, and it's absolutely not. This is something new, and I think people need to definitely keep this one on their radar. And I'll tell you why. Hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. So just imagine the bumper's not there. And yeah, I did put it on the top. It's not, it's whatever. But Jeep, look at the width of those axles on that body. I mean, is that not just to die for? And about 10 mil shorter link on the rear, and you'd have a legit scale YJ if you're lucky enough to have scored one of these bodies. I know they're discontinued, but I don't know if anybody's repopping them or anything yet. But yeah, so that is definitely the plan. Just shorten these links up. There's plenty of room. Obviously, I lean the shocks in. There's plenty of room, shock mounting wise, to get it all in there. The chassis length is perfect for a YJ conversion. I mean, the back of the frame is inside the body. The front of the frame is inside the body. And the axle width is dead on. I mean, it's dead on inside the fenders. So you could get a really good stock looking YJ build out of this chassis, which is where this one will head. So cat's out of the bag. But yeah, until then, I'm going to enjoy it with some Lexan and see what else I can do performance wise to continue on. So quick video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you everybody that subscribed. I think I'm at like 750 now. I'm in awe. I'm in shock. I appreciate it very much, and I can't wait to hit 1,000. So until then.